Have you ever wondered about the root cause of the Israel-Palestine conflict, one of the longest-standing geopolitical conflicts in the world? This question has baffled historians, politicians, and scholars alike for decades. The conflict, deeply rooted in history, is not just a battle over land. It is a complex tapestry of cultural, religious, and political threads, all intertwined in a struggle for identity, sovereignty, and survival. From the ancient times of King David's conquest of Jerusalem to the reign of Herod the Great, the British occupation during World War I, and the establishment of the State of Israel, the land that we now know as Palestine, and Israel has been a focal point of contention and desire. This land, sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, is more than just a geographical location. It is a symbol of faith, a beacon of hope, and unfortunately, a battleground of fury. In this video, we will delve into the intricate layers of this conflict, exploring its historical beginnings, the key moments that have shaped its course, and the current situation on the ground. We'll aim to shed light on the numerous factors that contribute to the ongoing tension between Palestine and Israel and provide a comprehensive understanding of the events that have led us to the present day. So, are you ready to embark on this journey? Join us as we unravel the history of this conflict from its inception to the present day. The Israel-Palestine conflict has roots that go back more than a century. Our story begins in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a time marked by the rise of two powerful ideologies, Zionism and Arab nationalism. Zionism emerged among European Jews who faced increasing persecution. This movement aimed to establish a national homeland for Jews in the place they had historical and religious ties to, Palestine. On the other side, Arab nationalism was growing among the Arab majority residing in the region. They aspired for independence from Ottoman rule and later from European powers. Palestine, for them, was an integral part of the Arab world, and the idea of a Jewish homeland there was seen as a threat to their national aspirations. In the midst of these rising tensions, the Balfour Declaration of 1917 played a pivotal role. Issued by the British government, it expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. However, it also stated that nothing should be done to prejudice the rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine or the rights of Jews in other countries. Following World War I, Britain took charge of Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. The British mandate for Palestine, as it was known, was supposed to implement the Balfour Declaration, but it was a difficult balancing act. The influx of Jewish immigrants during this period intensified land disputes and communal violence, leading to major uprisings by Palestinian Arabs in the late 1920s and 30s. As World War II ended, the horrors of the Holocaust reinforced international support for a Jewish state. Meanwhile, the British, unable to reconcile Jewish and Arab aspirations, decided to hand the issue over to the newly formed United Nations. With the end of the British mandate, the stage was set for the creation of a Jewish state. In 1948, the State of Israel was declared, sparking the First Arab-Israeli War. This key event marked a significant turn in the history of the Middle East. The creation of Israel was not a simple process. It was marked by international debates, diplomatic maneuvers, and ultimately, armed conflict. Following the atrocities of World War II, the plight of Jewish refugees became an urgent international issue. The United Nations proposed a plan to partition the British Mandate of Palestine into two independent states, one Arab and one Jewish. The Jewish Agency for Palestine accepted the plan, but Arab leaders and Palestinian representatives rejected it, leading to civil conflict. On May 14, 1948, Israel declared its independence. The very next day, 5 Arab states, Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, invaded the new nation, marking the beginning of the First Arab-Israeli War. The war was characterized by bitter fighting, shifting front lines, and a significant displacement of populations. The war resulted in a substantial number of Palestinian Arabs leaving their homes within the newly formed Israel. This event, known as the Nakba, or catastrophe in Arabic, is a significant point of contention and sorrow in the Palestinian narrative. By early 1949, the fighting had reached a stalemate. This led to a series of agreements known as the 1949 Armistice Agreements. signed separately between Israel and each of the 4 neighboring Arab countries that had participated in the war. These agreements ended the official hostilities of the First Arab-Israeli War, with Israel holding on to most of the territory it had claimed. Though the war ended, the conflict was far from over. The armistice lines were meant to serve as interim borders, but they soon became de facto international boundaries. The unresolved issues from this period continued to fuel the conflict that persists to this day. The following decades saw more wars and attempts at peace. Let's dive into some of the major ones. Our first stop is the Suez Crisis of 1956, a political standoff that saw Israel, France, and Britain take on Egypt over control of the Suez Canal. This crisis marked a significant turning point in Middle Eastern geopolitics, highlighting the decline of European colonial influence. Fast forward to 1967, we find ourselves amidst the Six-Day War, a conflict so swift yet so impactful that it changed the face of the region. Israel, in a preemptive strike, seized the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza Strip, West Bank, Old Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights. This war not only expanded Israel's territory, but also intensified the conflict with the Palestinians and neighboring Arab states. Next came the Yom Kippur War of 1973. Egypt and Syria, seeking to reclaim their lost territories, launched a surprise attack on Israel on the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, Yom Kippur. Despite initial successes, the war ended in a stalemate, further entrenching the divisions in the region. But it wasn't all about wars. There were attempts at peace too. The Camp David Accords of 1978, brokered by U.S. President Jimmy Carter, marked a significant breakthrough. It led to the signing of a peace treaty between Israel and Egypt in 1979, a first between Israel and any of its Arab neighbors. The Oslo Accords followed in the 90s, marking another hopeful moment. These agreements established a framework for future relations between Israel and the Palestinians, creating the Palestinian Authority and setting the stage for further negotiations. Despite these efforts, a lasting resolution remained elusive. The 21st century has seen continued violence and a struggle for peace. The new millennium brought with it the Second Intifada, a period of intensified Israeli-Palestinian violence. The conflict was marked by a wave of suicide bombings and military operations that left thousands dead and even more scarred by the horrors of war. Yet the violence did not end there. The Gaza War erupted, further fueling the flames of conflict. This war saw a devastating toll on human lives, infrastructure, and any remaining hope for peace. The sound of gunfire and explosions became a haunting lullaby, echoing in the night, reminding everyone of the grim reality they were living. In recent years, tensions have only escalated. Jerusalem, a city sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, has become a flashpoint of conflict. Changes to the status of Jerusalem's holy sites have been met with stern warnings and threats of conflict from neighboring countries. The peace process, once a beacon of hope, now seems like a distant dream. Efforts to broker a lasting resolution have been met with obstacles at every turn. Yet, despite the despair, the quest for peace persists. The dream of a peaceful coexistence, where children are not born into a world of conflict, continues to be a driving force for many. The current situation, as grim as it may be, is not the end of the story. The history of the Israel-Palestine conflict is marked by periods of intense violence followed by fleeting moments of peace. It's a cycle that has repeated itself over and over again. But history also teaches us that change is possible, that peace, however elusive, can be achieved. While the path to peace is fraught with challenges, understanding the past is key to forging a path forward. The road ahead is uncertain and filled with obstacles. Yet, by understanding the history of this conflict, we can hope to better comprehend the complexities of the present situation and the challenges that lie ahead in the quest for peace. The future is unwritten, and it is up to us to pen a narrative of peace and coexistence.